NN-DMT might be the single most mysterious substance on Earth. I mean, the more that we study this psychedelic compound, the stranger it gets. And even after decades of research, science still can't answer some of the most basic questions about this molecule. For example, you probably heard that DMT naturally occurs in the human body, and it's true. This powerful psychedelic compound exists within every single one of us right now. But why? What role does it play in our physiology? Why is this powerful psychedelic naturally occurring in the human body? And why is it that ingesting just a few milligrams of this substance leads to these profound out-of-body journeys into these super vivid otherworldly realms inhabited by beings or entities? In this video, we're exploring 7 of the biggest unsolved mysteries about DMT. I'm really excited for this video because what I'm about to share proves the so-called spirit molecule truly has the potential to revolutionize our understanding of science, of spirituality, of life and death, and existence itself. So let's dive in. Welcome back to a channel dedicated to psychedelic education and consciousness exploration. My name is Jonas, and as I've been sharing for years on this channel, my own experiences with DMT completely changed my life, opened my mind in ways I never could have imagined, and unlocked breakthroughs in my growth and wellness as a person. It's easy for skeptics to say that DMT is just some hallucination in the brain. The thing is that most of these skeptics have never tried DMT for themselves and have no idea what they're talking about. Because according to the research of people who have actually tried DMT, 80% of experiencers say that this experience has fundamentally changed their entire worldview. There is something profoundly significant to that. That is a revolution of our perspective, and it demands investigation with an open mind. So let's start with mystery number 1. Why is it that DMT occurs all throughout the natural world? It is astonishing how common this psychedelic molecule is all throughout nature in thousands of different plant and animal species. Thousands. It's been found in every single mammalian species that's been tested so far, including, yes, us, human beings. DMT occurs in trace amounts in our blood, in our spinal fluid, in different bodily tissues. And again, I'll ask why? What role does it play in our physiology? Thousands of different plant species as well. I mean, even common grass contains DMT. It's almost like nature has gone out of its way to preserve DMT across the web of life. And I'll keep asking, why? It's interesting to consider from an evolutionary perspective because we know that evolution is a lean process, right? That conserves only the most important molecules and physiological functions. So DMT must play an extremely important role in life-sustaining processes. But here in the year 2025, we have no idea what that is. And that just adds to the mystery and intrigue of the powerful psychedelic effects that are offered by this molecule. So let's zoom in on the DMT experience. Mystery number 2 is, how can we explain the cross-cultural consistency of DMT visions? Modern research has accumulated thousands of DMT case reports, right? And if we examine this body of data, every single DMT experience is so unique and different, and yet at the same time, in almost every single case, we find the same core themes, namely, separating from the physical body, encountering some sort of other world, alternate dimension, or realm beyond this physical universe that's inhabited by beings or entities in a way that feels realer than real. No matter where a person is from, no matter their social, cultural, religious background, these features are reported in around 80% of high-dose DMT experiences. In many cases, people even report the same types of worlds and beings. How is this possible if it's all just hallucinations in the brain? I mean, if these are all just psychedelic hallucinations, we would expect a broad range of subjective experiences across different social and cultural backgrounds, right? But that's not what we find. So again, how do we explain this? Is everyone hallucinating the same psychedelic DMT realms and entities? Or Could it be that people from all different walks of life are getting glimpses into subtle aspects of reality that are real in a way that we've yet to discover? Real quick, if you love exploring psychedelics as much as I do, I've just started a free online community called Psychonaut Academy, where you can connect with like-minded explorers, all supporting each other on the path. Please check out the link below to join. I would love to welcome you there. Mystery number 3 is, why does DMT feel more real than real? This is a fascinating question because, again, it's surprising how frequently this is reported. In a recent survey of DMT experiencers, 81% said that their experience on DMT felt more real than normal waking consciousness. And here you can hear world-leading DMT researcher Dr. Rick Strassman speak to this topic.
People under a high dose of DMT in our work, they repeatedly and uniformly say the experience is more real than real. It's the most real thing that's ever happened to them. That this reality just seems like a dream compared to the pure, solidity and convincing nature of what happens under a high dose of DMT.
Here's how I would explain it. Right now in this moment, I know that I'm not dreaming. It's hard to say exactly why, but there's something about this moment, it just feels more real than a dream, right? Now imagine that dial just being cranked up all the way to 1,000,000. Where in the DMT experience, it feels even more real, even more fundamentally true than this human lifetime. And in fact, this is something that people report all the time coming out of the DMT experience, that this lifetime feels almost like a dream in comparison to this greater, more fundamental truth or reality. And it raises the question, why is that? What makes this experience feel so real? If it's all just some hallucination in the brain, then why does it come with this hyper lucid, hyper real sense of vividness to the experience? What does that tell us? Mystery number 4 is, what can we learn from the DMT time distortion effect? The way that DMT distorts our perception of time is just bizarre and fascinating. So you probably heard that a DMT psychedelic experience is pretty short in duration. It only lasts between 5 to 15 or 20 minutes in Earth time. And yet DMT users describe experiences while under the influence that feel like hours, days, or even years or lifetimes have passed. In many cases, it feels like the DMT experience exists outside of time altogether, which again is just so weird. Like, how can our subjective sense of time stretch so dramatically in such a short burst of neurochemistry? What does that reveal about the way that our brain filters our perception of time? And maybe at even a bigger philosophical level, does this somehow suggest that consciousness exists outside of linear time altogether? Mystery number 5. Who or what are the DMT entities? Ah yes, the DMT entities. This is one of the most famous and iconic features of the DMT experience. If we examine DMT trip reports, almost every single one contains some sort of entity, contact, or encounter experience. This study out of Johns Hopkins was specifically designed to analyze these entity encounters, and it was a huge study, over 2,500 participants, and 95% said that they believed these DMT entities to be conscious and intelligent. 72% of the sample believed that these beings really existed and continued to exist in an autonomous way even after the effects of DMT wore off. We find consistent archetypes or types of beings, from these machine elves to these jesters to aliens to spiritual or even godlike divine beings. And even more incredible, there's often communication that occurs. 84% of this same sample reported that they actually communicated with these beings, either one way or two way. In some cases, entities deliver messages or information or even future predictions that the person claims that they couldn't have known themselves. So again, if these entities are hallucinations, why do they seem so real? Why do they seem to act autonomously as if they have their own will? Where is this information, the messages that they share with us coming from? The skeptical view, of course, is that these entities are just projections of our own mind, but it is possible. I mean, consider for a moment how this radical and incredible possibility that these DMT entities are more than just hallucinations. Could it be that these are real encounters with autonomous life forms in parallel realities? Mystery number 6. Why is DMT closely linked to near-death experiences? Okay, this is just an amazing aspect of the DMT experience. Research has found that the DMT experience almost perfectly parallels near-death experiences with all the same core features. This is a study that states that the data reveals striking similarities between DMT and near-death experiences that warrants further exploration. Because in both of these experiences, DMT and NDEs, people subjectively report the same core themes, including separating from the physical body, moving through some sort of a tunnel or a portal, entering into realms of light and color, encountering beings there, and being overwhelmed by feelings of bliss, sacredness, and unity. There is no obvious reason why DMT experiences would closely mirror near-death experiences in this way. And again, what does this tell us about the nature of consciousness and the possibility of life after death? Some people hypothesize that surges of DMT naturally released in the brain around the time of death could help us to explain near-death experiences, but all of this raises so many profound questions. I mean, does DMT just simulate the death or dying experience, or does it offer a glimpse of what happens when we actually cross over? Mystery number 7. Could DMT enable extra-dimensional access? Oh, guys, I love talking about this. Okay, so some researchers argue that DMT doesn't create hallucinations, but shifts the brain into receiving information from other dimensions, like tuning a radio. In this perspective, our ordinary human reality is just one channel, and DMT tunes us into other channels. And that's so fascinating to consider because in the DMT experience, it certainly feels that way. It is very possible that we live in a multiverse, right? With other dimensions or layers or planes, realms of existence beyond this physical universe. And in fact, this is exactly what mystics and spiritual visionaries have been telling us for thousands of years all over the world. And here in the present day, modern theoretical physics is starting to catch up because we now have many theoretical physicists agreeing, yes, reality is interdimensional. Outside of 3D space and time, there is more to existence beyond what we can perceive with our physical senses. Could it be that DMT is like a telescope into other dimensions beyond space and time? If that is even remotely true, this is one of the most important topics that anyone could ever discuss and examine because it raises the possibility that not only is reality interdimensional, but so are we. That our consciousness isn't just produced by the brain, it's part of a greater reality. I am absolutely convinced, my friends, that just in the same way we came to realize that Earth isn't at the center of this universe, it is only a matter of time before we realize that this universe isn't at the center of existence. There is way more, and that will be one of the most revolutionary breakthroughs in all of human history. Well, I'm sure a lot of people disagree, but no matter what we believe, there is no doubt that DMT takes us right to the heart of some of life's biggest questions, and it demands further exploration in a safe and responsible way. If you ask me, the spirit molecule is here to remind us that reality is far more mysterious and vast than anything that we can possibly comprehend, that we are multidimensional beings in a multidimensional mystery of life. And that's why I'm so passionate about this work. This is not just about some psychedelic. This is about exploring the nature of reality. This is about helping us to expand and evolve and learn and grow and understand who we truly are. And that's why I've started the Psychonaut Academy. I'd love to invite you to join again. It's a free online psychedelic community where we dive deeper into these questions together. Check out the link below and please come join us. I would love to welcome you there. As always, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate every one of you, and I'll see you back here very soon.